Okay, I'm going to do my own version of Fun with Flags. For those of you that watch the show Big Bang Theory, you know Sheldon Cooper about once every 2 seasons does this little Fun with Flags thing because he likes flags and he likes trains. But this is going to be about the UN flag and what the true meaning of the UN flag. So the UN flag is a blue background with white writing. It's the polar equidistant map of the world, or the Gleason map, broken up into 8 quadrants with four divisions in each quadrant, plus the center where the Arctic Circle is, and it's surrounded by leaves. Now, if you go to their website, they'll tell you that these leaves are olive branches. There's no olives on there. Those are actually laurel leaves, denoting victory. The Olympians would be crowned with laurel leaves as a token of victory, and then the actual crowns that the Caesars wore were gold, laurel, the 2 laurel leaves meaning denoting victory. So you could say that this flag is a victory over the earth. Well, who is it a victory for? So let's go over here and look at it. I want you to think about the UN map without the actual Earth on it. So it's divided up into 8. There's 8 divisions, 4 quadrants in each division, plus where the Arctic Circle is. So that would be 32 divisions plus where the Arctic Circle is 33. So keep that in mind. So if you look at the back of a dollar bill, there's the eagle here. One of the sides has 33 feathers and the other ones have 32. And that has to do with the people that designed the bill. They were all Masons. And Masonry has there's 2 kinds of Masonry. There's the Scottish Rite and the York Rite. Both of them have a thing called the Blue Lodge, which the first 3 rites are the same in each of the forms of Masonry. The great preponderance of Masons in the United States are Scottish Rite Masons. The York Rite is primarily in England. The majority are. There's lodges here about that, but anyway, so there's the 32nd degree and the 33rd degree. Now, the great Masonic scholars, Albert Pike, who redid all the rites after the Blue Lodge and the Scottish Rite shortly after the Civil War, Mackey talks about it, but Pike will mention in Morals and Dogma it's the most dry reading you could ever have, and he plagiarizes it virtually every religion on earth, but he'll say that once you get to the 30th, the 31st, and the 32nd, it's okay to tell the initiate who they really worship, and it isn't Jabulon or Baal, it's Lucifer. And it even says, this is almost a direct quote, once the initiate gets to there, the seething energies of Lucifer will power him. And, so they're devil worshippers, basically. The guys you probably know, they're not really into it. They're just doing it to get ahead in business. But that's who the god of Masonry is. It's Lucifer. Can't get around that. So anyway, but this is a stylized version of the Satanic Wheel of the Year. And here's the Satanic Wheel of the Year. It's broken up to the longest day of the year, the shortest day of the year, and then the cross vertices. And these are the holidays. The beginning and the end of the year is Halloween, Samhain, and then it goes Yule, corresponds kind of to Christmas, Imbolc, Ostara, Beltane, Midsummer, Litha, Lunisog, Mabon, and then back to Samhain. And it's based. Devil worshippers, Satan worshippers worship in the night. So they go on a lunar calendar. That's why there's 13 in a coven. You can put 13 lunar months in one solar year, but there's still a day left over, and they call that the day out of time. So the Druids, that was the big festival, Samhain. So Halloween's actually on 3 days, and here's a expanded breakdown of that calendar here. So the actual days that they're on. Okay, so Ostara, and these are the actual days. So you can look this up. I have it on my website on page 2 of timblowsplace.com, and here's a stylized. I mean, you just look it up, the Wheel of the Year, but it's actually the Satanic Wheel of the Year. So that's what it looks like. And like I said, I got that on page 2. You can look it up anywhere. You don't have to go to my website. I have it there if you want to look. Now, let's go back to the UN. So the UN Charter was actually signed in the Presidio in San Francisco. The land was donated by John Rockefeller, who just died at 101 a couple months ago. He had 7 heart transplants. He was a real piece of work, not a nice person. And the land that he donated was in the family. David Rockefeller, not John Rockefeller. John Rockefeller was the real rich grandfather. David Rockefeller just died. He was 101. He had 7 heart transplants. But it was an old slaughterhouse, the land where the UN building is, and the Satan worshipers like to do stuff like that. They want to do stuff that was covered in death, and that was a big slaughterhouse for, I think, 80 or 90 years. So they donated that land for the UN. Now, there's different shades of Satanism. There's paganism, Wicca. There's lone practitioners. There's people that are lone practitioners, but they get drawn into things such as the Odo Temporal Orientalis, which was shown in Eyes Wide Shut, that Tom Cruise movie where his wife Nicole Kidman's in there, and they're having all these sex orgies, and people are dying, and they're all rich. That's the OTO. That's one branch of it. But the world's run by generational Satanists, and their rites are based on a combination of Druidism, the Zohar, and Kabbalah kind of mixed together, and Babylon mystery religion. Now they have working soldiers, and these are sometimes non-affiliated, sometimes affiliated branches. The OTO, which I just mentioned, Masonry, the Bilderberger Group, the Committee of 300, the Club of Rome, the International Monetary Fund, the European Union, the World Bank, the Trilateral Commission, the Bohemian Grove, Skull and Bones, the Royal Institute for International. That's Britain's version of the CFR, and anyway, there's lots of other groups, because they basically have all the money that there is. So they do kind of whatever they want. And if you go back to, there was a guy named Pallades that wrote this book called Missing 411. And if you go to the FBI website, and I did this, probably 10 years ago, 11 years ago, so the numbers have gone up because the population's gone up. But about 200,000 people go missing each year. Now, some of those people don't want to be found, but some of them, fall into crevasses or eaten by animals or, whatnot. But there's way over 100,000 people get sacrificed a year to all these covens. And just look at all the missing milk carton kids. Pallades has written up a follow-up book to Missing 411, but these mainly cover people that go missing in national parks, which is actually the perfect place to capture, and take somebody, because there's no cell phone coverage. If you're missing for 3 hours and you're hiking in a park, nobody's even going to think about you're being gone, but you've already been gone. Now, his book, Missing 411, is really dry. He doesn't really come to any conclusions. He just lays them out. But if you go to his website, you get his take on it, which I don't necessarily agree with. But anyway, Pallades, Missing 411, and then he's got a follow-up book. He's on the radio a lot on the late-night talk show circuits. But anyway, back to the UN flag. So the UN flag is the victory of Satan over the whole of the Earth. So it's the satanic wheel over a polar equidistant map, or the Gleason map, whichever one you want to call it. And the laurel leaves denote victory. And the blue is the Blue Lodge. So, yeah, the UN, nothing good ever comes out of it. And, you know, there you go. And that's my version of fun with flags. Ciao.